The strategic Bitcoin reserve is now there. And although it was maybe a little bit of buy the rumors, sell the news, I think it is pretty huge anyway. It's kind of like the ETFs in my opinion. Like people know it's coming, we're buying it up, but the actual money that's going to flow into the market because of it, that's yet to happen. So I think that over the mid long term, this is going to be fantastic. However, we should take a look at this crypto cycle as pessimistic as possible. Now, I know a lot of you people are good at that. So let me try that as well. Because what if all the news doesn't really matter, right? Like it never did actually. The charts move and, based on the charts, actually there's news that backs it up. So what if this cycle tops out early? What if we do what we usually do, and what if we do something completely different this time, maybe more to the right? And what are the pro traders telling about this? So let's take a look at this. Should be a pretty interesting video. So welcome to the Fomo Factory. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on, and let's get right into it. Now, we start with Bitcoin. If we don't understand Bitcoin, then we can take a look at the altcoin market, but that's no use, right? Then we can check out a new car, but I have no metaphor for this. You come up with one. It's not my freaking job. Like, I try, man. Sometimes it just doesn't work. I'm not going to reshoot this. I don't edit this. So anyway, we should understand Bitcoin first before we dive into the altcoin market. Now, what's there to understand for Bitcoin? Well, if we look at this cycle for Bitcoin so far, right, it's been very bullish, right? We have a huge move up. We go sideways a little bit. We sweep these lows and then we go up again, sideways. Here also up, sideways, sweep the lows, up, sideways, sweep the lows, up, sideways, sweep the lows. So far, Bitcoin is actually 2 steps forward, 1 step back, breaking its leg occasionally, recovering very fast, and goes on a home run. Like that's kind of what Bitcoin is doing so far. Also a bad metaphor, but at least finished that one, right? So, hey. Now, based on purely that, Bitcoin is doing great, but we also know that things won't go on like that forever, right? Like, yeah, we can expect this to stop now. We can expect this to maybe go on for 3 quarters, right? That's the big question, of course. Now, let me be very clear with you guys. Like, I'm speculating. I'm a dude with some money in crypto. I bought a fucking camera and I'm sharing my opinion on the internet, right? It doesn't mean that I have a crystal ball. And let me be very clear. No other YouTuber or analyst has one. Nobody. We can speculate, but if anybody tells you this is going to happen, you should block that retard, right? He's not from the future. You are not from the future. Are you okay? Like, we don't know what's going to happen, right? Ow. We don't know what's going to happen. But we can speculate based on what we have. And then we place our odds. Then we can still be wrong or right? But again, like I said earlier, it's like with horse racing. You're not going to bet on a horse which is handicapped, with a mental retardness, 3 legs, with firecrackers in his ass. Like, if there's a super fast horse on the other side racing against him, then you're going to bet on that horse. The retard horse can still win, though. Anything could happen. It doesn't mean like, oh, you see? No, like, nobody knows that shit. Right? So, okay, let's move on with the serious stuff of this video. When it comes to Bitcoin, so far, this move down has been nothing else than a buying opportunity, right? We have seen that here. We've seen it here. We've seen it here a little bit. We've seen it here, right? So far, it has not been different. We should look at that as well, right? What's not different? What's also not different is the fact that we now, so far from the highs in Q1, had a drop of 28.5%. Q1 of 2021, we had a drop of 31.5%, and Q1 of 2017, we had a drop of 34%. Right? So I said this earlier, it could be that these drops are diminishing a little bit and that this was it. Could also be that we're going to do something average. I mean, it's based on just 2 previous times, which is not, in my opinion, enough data to come up with a really solid plan, right? But this is more to hedge, like, hey, this could happen, that could happen, where to place your bets. if we do what we did on average, let's say 32 or something like that, right? Bitcoin can go to lower 73,000. Now, that would line up with one, the fact that we have that average Q1 drop, will also line up with this huge resistance where we spent months last year to break out from. And it will also line up with one really big moving average. And that's the, let me, if this goes loading, right? The I think this one was said, let me check where was the moving average? Right. Not right. The 50-week moving average. The 50-week moving average is now sitting at $75,500, right? Now, what's interesting about that moving average, by the way, why this one is cool, you can basically see that we in a bull market, we tend to test that moving average. But if we really go below it, then it's a bear market, right? You can see it right here. In the bull market, we were above it. All good. Once we broke below it, bear market confirmed, right? There's one exception to this. Get into that. Above it, bull market. Went below it, confirmed bear market, right? Now, we went below it once during COVID, though, right? But there was a black swan. Then all the moving averages and TAs off of the table for a short while. And we got back above it pretty fast. And the bull market continued. We found support here. But then again, below it, retest, fell, bear market, right? Now we are above it again. Tested here, and now we are, somewhat relative close to that 75K. Doesn't mean that it's like bad if we get there. So far, this has been the best buying opportunity in a bull market. But if we really close below it, then based on this, we should say like, okay, there's a chance that the bear market is going to start now. So far, no signs of a bear market for Bitcoin. I mean, if we look at this chart, come on, right? So far, this isn't different. So far, this has been an opportunity and a really good one as well. Now, based on the cycles that we have seen before with Bitcoin, we can say like, hey, let's not overcomplicate it. Bitcoin bottoms every 4 years and it tops every 4 years. Exactly, right? The ones that didn't overcomplicate and purely looked at that, they made it, right? Now, the question is, how long will that go on, right? That cannot go on forever, and it probably won't. Also doesn't have to mean that it's going to stop this cycle. Like, well, now everybody knows about it. One, there's nobody in crypto right now, basically. Two, the people that are here, they don't really know about it. And three, the people that do know about it, applying it is something different as well. So that it's not that like, oh, we all know it, so it's not gonna like, nah, it's not that simple, I think. So, purely based on that, we can say like, okay, good chance that Bitcoin is gonna top out end of 2025. That's still my base case, right? Because I just don't like to bet against the trend. The trend has what is what made us money so far. It is what wrecked people if they went against it so far as well. And it goes for every kind of trend in crypto or stocks, whatever. Yeah, and it is dangerous to bet on that, right? One day, or to bet against that, one day the people that will bet against it are going to be right. But so far, they have been losing. So they have to be right one day. Otherwise, they keep on losing, right? So end of 2025, very simple, is my base case. Now, you can say like, yeah, but now, right, we have this, we have that, we have this, we have that. So it's going to be different. We could say that, but the danger about that is that we had many reasons earlier to believe that it was different as well, and it wasn't, right? Even during, like, especially during COVID, if any time it was legit to say like, well, guys, this time it's a little different, then COVID was that, right? Everything was on fire, financially, like everything, right? It didn't change anything. So I do find it quite dangerous to, with every kind of news, to say like, well, this time is different. Like with FTX, people all said crypto is dead, it's different. No, it was just the narrative eventually that we needed to bring the market to the bottom exactly at the end of the pre-halving year, right? Like we do in every market, right? It just needed a narrative. Well, we got it. What a coincidence, but we got it, right? So I do think that trading on or investing based on news is not the best way to do it. Cycles and timing and just seasonal behavior has a win rate of 10 out of 10. Trading based off news, basically zero. Only on the short term, actually. Now as well, like we have the news about the tariffs, etc. Look, that's bad for crypto. Really bad, right? Bad. So you should have sold here, right? Should have sold here. Okay, if you did that, you kind of now still here again. Like we went down short term, right? Short term. Okay, whatever, fine. I'm not a trader. I don't care about short term. If Bitcoin goes to 50K today and back to 90 tomorrow, I don't like. It's kind of, oh, nice, something happened, but I don't care. Like, it's not that I'm getting liquidated or whatever somewhere. So this is for investing, right? So my base case is still crypto topping out around the end of the year. Is there a chance that I will be wrong? Yeah. And it's not like that if I'm wrong, I am wrecked or whatever, or that you should be wrecked because you did something based on what I said and that was wrong, right? You should have a base case. You should just have a base case, right? And spread your chances and spread your chances more towards that, probably, right? But if it turns out that Bitcoin is going to top out a bit sooner or a bit later, then fine. But this is, in my opinion, the best bet to take, right? This is the fastest horse, right? We can bet on the handicapped horse and it might win, but it doesn't mean it was the best bet. Right? That's all that crypto is, actually, betting on handicapped horses, right? Like, so what's interesting is that there is a channel, Benjamin Cohen. He made this video, Bitcoin market cycles, right translated or left translated. It's a long freaking video. I would recommend 1.5 speed. Watch it. This is one of the best crypto videos I've seen so far. Really. I'm not getting paid by Benjamin Cohen for people to feel like you're always talking about something else now. But this is really one of the best videos that I've seen. It's so unbiased, and that's what we need right now, right? We need something unbiased. I try to be unbiased, but I am bullish. I am bullish, right? Things are low, so I am bullish. That maybe feels a little bit biased for some people. Well, this guy is, I don't know. I don't even know if he's a real human being. Like, he is always just that inside. And that's good. That's what we need in crypto. Best YouTuber to watch, really. Now, what he said is, to wrap it up really quickly, because why is that interesting? Because he kind of has the best track record this cycle and last cycle out of everybody out there. He fucking nailed it. Really fucking nailed it. Right? So if you would have listened to anybody and did what he did, which you should do, but it was him, you are sitting really good right now. Now, it doesn't mean that what he's saying that it's going to be right again, but fastest horse, not a handicap one, right? Although he kind of looks like... He said, like, there's a chance of a left translated cycle, and a left translated cycle would basically mean that if Bitcoin now keeps on going down, and he drew it like, or drawn it, or draw, I think something like this. He kind of said, like, hey, if we go, below 60, give or take, and we close there, then there's a good chance that it's going to be a left translated cycle. Now, what is a left translated cycle? Well, a right translated cycle is what we have seen so far, where Bitcoin tops out at the end of the post-halving year. That's so far every time the case for crypto. Left translated cycle is also not weird because the stock market does that occasionally as well. So it's not unheard of. It's not my base case, but hey, it could happen. Left translated cycle is where we top out earlier in Q1. So left translated cycle should basically mean that this was the top for Bitcoin. Okay. And that we then go down. And what Benjamin says is like that there is a good chance that we go down. If that happens, make a lower high, a pretty big high, maybe new all-time highs. Try to quote his words carefully, and then get into a bear market. So even according to him, if it is going to be a left translated cycle, there is still something called freaking big opportunity, and just get out with whatever you can before we get into the bear market and start over again, right? It's possible. I want to talk more a little bit about how would that look like for altcoins, though. A right translated cycle, according to him, is not completely what he discussed in that video, but on his ITC Premium, he said, like, if we do get a regular right translated cycle, then there's a good chance that Bitcoin goes towards the lower logarithmic trend line, higher logarithmic trend line. Now, that will be pretty cool for the bulls, because the logarithmic regression band shows here, in a right translated cycle, we always get there, right? We went there in 2013, 2017, and in 2021. Right now, if we get there again by the end of 2025, the lower upper band, right, this one, in the end of 2025 is sitting at around 300K. Right now, that's high, I know. Then again, it's just like a 3.5x from this point. I mean, it is Bitcoin. It's not the S&P that we're talking about. This would not be the first time. In fact, this will be the worst time if that just happens, right? So sounds maybe a little, whoa, but since when are 4 or 5x's in crypto that uncommon all of a sudden, right? That would be if the cycle does what the cycle always does. So, in fact, that would not be the weirdest case scenario, right? So that's still possible. In this cycle, what we saw as well, we, like every cycle after the bear market, spent a lot of time in the lower logarithmic band, right? Here we went into that band from January 2015, and we really broke out of it in May 2017. So we spent 2.5 years here, right? Here we went into it in November 2018, and we got out of it in November 2020. We spent 2 years in it. Now we got into it in June 2022, and it's now March 2025, so more than 2.5 years. So it's not that different from this 2017 cycle. And if you follow this channel, you'll notice that there are a lot of similarities with 2017. And this is yet another one of them. So this, if you purely trade the cycle, then you would be completely bullish right now, right? You will be like, wow, it's low, it's still buying opportunity. We have a pretty good bunch of time left in this cycle, right? And again, that is my base case. Yeah, however, we can see something that never happened before. It's possible, right? The funny thing is, though, that I noticed on this channel as well, like, people have been calling this time is different for 2 years now, more than 2 years. So far, these people have been wrecked, right? Now, this time could be different today, or it starts next week. Maybe by the end of the year, maybe next cycle or 2 cycles later. Again, calling that this time is different is not the best move, because until the day of today, that hasn't played out. It doesn't mean that it will never play out, right? And by then, these people will probably say, you see, like, yeah, now, yes, but back then. So how would it look like for the altcoin market if, in my opinion, if Bitcoin goes left or right translated? Let's take a look at that. Another thing from somebody else And this is by far not the one with the best track record. This kind of this is the handicapped horse, basically. But I do kind of, for the first time, kind of agree with what he's saying right now. Is this? Well, not fully, but a little bit. This capo, I know, right? And he says, current plan remains. Bitcoin to 100K with a quick pump, Ethereum to 3K, altcoins 10 up to 50% up. That will be a bull trap. Then we get a 30, 60% drop. The second shakeout, possible Black Swan event, whatever you like, what the reason is. And then the usual general epic alt season will start after the full capitulation. Now, look, the thing is, Capo has been wrong with every fucking thing that he said. But it's also kind of because he always went against the market, against the trend, right? When things were low, he said it goes lower. When it was high, he said it goes higher, and it didn't make sense. And terrible. Now I feel like it doesn't sound weird what he's saying right now, right? Another move up. Will it be exactly 100K? Whatever, right? But a good move up would make sense. A 30 to a 60% drop could happen. It's crypto. It's not what we haven't witnessed before. And that would be some kind of a black swan. And that could line up. And I don't think he means 60% on Bitcoin. But what we saw the last cycle, at least, was also during a black swan, though. But we saw the COVID crash. Altcoins went down with 72%. Right? Now, you should not try to predict a black swan, right? Then it's not a black swan anymore. A black swan is something that just happens like this and nobody expected. If now something happens in the market because of Trump or whatever, people kind of expected that, right? Black swan would be if I don't know, the White House get bombed or whatever. I have no idea. Right, that will be a black swan. But that would bring the altcoin market probably somewhere here. And I have set the not target, but possibility a long time ago, where I said, like, guys, I don't expect this to happen. If it happens, I'm ready, though. Because this would be the capitulation, which would be the best buy you will ever get in your life, right? The returns are diminishing. It's not getting better in the next cycle. The opportunity right here, this changed everything for people. So if we get there, it could change everything. And after that, of course, a very heavy run by Bitcoin and altcoins. Because again, if we go that low liquidity, it's easy to buy up. It's easy to pump the price up. There are still a lot of people believing. And after such a capitulation week, you see what happens in this cycle so far. After these smaller capitulation weeks, people buy it up right away, right? Go down right here, buy up. Go down right here, buy up, right? Like, that's what happens. That's already very predictable that will happen. So that's what Capo is saying about this. Again, for the first time, I might agree with somewhat of the roadmap right there. Not necessarily the exact numbers. Now, again, how would this look like for crypto or for altcoins if it plays out like Benjamin Cohen speculates about? If we get a normal, right translated cycle, then I don't think it's going to be that hard. Alt season, again, is part of a cycle so far. For the people that are newer, I got a very funny comment on the channel. Somebody said, like, yeah, you talked about alt season at the top. I want you to understand what alt season is, okay? Alt season is what altcoins outperform Bitcoin. It has nothing to do with your altcoin going up or down on the dollar pair. If Bitcoin crashes now with 30%, but your let's say if Bitcoin now crashes with 70% and your altcoins crash with just 20%, it's an alt season. Altcoins outperform Bitcoin. Yet the market is going down and people won't feel like, hey, that's an alt season, but it is, right? So let me be very clear about that. Because I said on the channel for a long time now, I expect alt season end of 2024 / beginning 2025. Now, it's now the beginning of March. I do feel like if March is over, it's not beginning 2025 anymore, right? So could that prediction be a little off? Of course, right? But end of 2024, beginning 2025, this area right here, right? Doesn't look like the top to me, right? That's pretty fucking close to the bottom, right? Eventually, if we go up again, and then doesn't matter if you bought here or here. Like, who cares, man, right? So that's for now. Well, to say like, hey, that's still my expectation, then I would actually say like, yeah, I expect an alt season to happen within now in 3 weeks, right? What just happened is the Fed kind of announced that QT is going to stop somewhere around mid 2025. So far, and that's interesting for the people that expect alt season or want to know more about alt season, right? So far, every single time there was no QT, we were in alt season. Full history. Now they said QT is going to stop mid 2025. So if it's based on the balance sheet, QT, then we will see an alt season probably sooner than later, right? Because now we already know. Well, no, expect. Right? So that's already getting a little priced in soon, right? So might this be the bottom this week right here? This is a really good chance, yeah. Really good chance. Right? If the balance sheet, we don't need QE necessarily. Here, we also had no QE, right? Yet that was the biggest alt season we had. Bigger than 2021. So we'll see how that's going to play out. But if that's going to stop somewhere at the mid 2025, last time QT stopped was here, right? Here somewhere. And alt season started, yeah, in my opinion, this was more of alt season as we came to this trend line right here. But you could say it started here, went up, went down, and then it really, right? But altcoins already went up. Here QT stopped. And here altcoins already went up in August while QT stopped in September. So altcoins bottomed on their Bitcoin pair a month before QT stopped. And this was an unannounced ending of QT. Now we have an announced ending. So it's not weird to me that it's either already bottomed or that it's going to bottom very soon. If it's based on that, right? Now, if it's for some reason not based on this, and it's based on the cyclical behavior, then it should come any moment as well, right? And why is that? Because out of the just two pieces of history, though, we got an alt season January post-halving year, and we got an alt season March post-halving year. We are now in March post-halving year, right? So are we on track? Pretty perfectly, actually, right? Would it be way off if it's going to be April or May? I mean, what's 2 months in a cycle of 48 months, right? So still, if it's based on the Fed balance sheet, could come any moment. If it's based on the cycle, could come any moment. Yeah, what else could it be based on? I think as well on the psychology of people, right? Last time we got an alt season, you have to look at it like this, right? You overlay Bitcoin and you see this. Bitcoin's purple, right? People, they step into crypto. Oh, very risky place to be. Okay, let me then at least be in Bitcoin, right? Least risky. They're not stepping into altcoins right away. Maybe the younger, the newer people, but maybe the older people with a little more money, taking less risk, they don't right away get into the altcoin market. And nowadays, institutions, etc., and companies, so they step in Bitcoin. They make good money with BTC, right? Bitcoin went from doesn't work. Bitcoin went from 3K basically right here to around 38, 40K. Right, so they made a lot of money with Bitcoin. Then, only then, altcoins bottomed on the Bitcoin pair, and money was flowing from Bitcoin into the altcoin market. You can see Bitcoin having a top right here. Yeah, that's kind of where alt season actually just began, right? So it was clear we were in some kind of a distribution phase for Bitcoin. People thought, okay, I don't know how much more gains there are to be made. I already have a lot of money. Let me put it somewhere else where I can make more money. And they put it into the altcoin market. And then the altcoin market went into a bull market. So you kind of always have two bull markets. It was same case cycle before that as well, right? Bitcoin up really hard. And altcoins in the meantime kind of flat. And then altcoins in the bull market. So far, we have seen good returns with Bitcoin, not the 10, 12x like the last cycle so far, but pretty good returns. But I think that Bitcoin is still a little bit too speculative, right? People are still looking like, no, what's going on? What's going to happen? It's kind of insecurity right now, right? Is Bitcoin going to top out? Is it just another dip? Is it going to go on, right? I feel like the shift for a lot of people hasn't been made yet. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Now, if we do get a left translated cycle, right? Then I still think there's something really good to be done for altcoins. Because if you take a look at 2017, for example, right? Bitcoin started its bear market right here. So let me check that off. Bitcoin started its bear market. You can see there wasn't double top or anything. It was just a blow off top, bam, down. While Bitcoin started its bear market, that's where the real fast, explosive, crazy life-changing alt season began in a matter of a month. Right? So it's mostly that Bitcoin is clear like topping out, right? Going down. Okay, fuck that. Take it out. Put it in altcoins. Write that. Get out. That's how. So I do feel like that, man, even if we get a left translated cycle and Bitcoin is going to top out, altcoins can still outperform Bitcoin so hard that on their dollar pair, they will still gain from it. And then, like, if it plays out like Benjamin Cowen said, like, hey, we could maybe see something like this, right? It wouldn't surprise me if this brings the Bitcoin dominance down, that shifts it for people, right? That's finally gonna make altcoins on the Bitcoin pair gonna go up. And that in that Bitcoin recovery, you will see that because altcoins are already higher on the Bitcoin pair, you can see that altcoins on the dollar pair are going crazy in a short period of time, and then in a bear market, right? So all possibilities, I don't really see a scenario. It doesn't mean it can't happen though, but I don't really see a scenario where we have a cycle where altcoins don't do anything, right? Not even a bit. Because that's just part of the money flow. Whether Bitcoin is done or not, we just saw that even if Bitcoin is in a bear market, alt season can just start, right? I don't really see a scenario where we top out, that was it, and going down like that without an alt run. Because it would also be too easy. It goes completely with the sentiment if that happens, right? People are now bearish on altcoins, say like, oh, sell your altcoins, isn't that? Especially the newer people. Yeah, look, these people usually don't get what they want in crypto, right? The market does the complete opposite. There has to be max pain. Max pain isn't going to be to the downside. Max pain in this cycle, I think, is when people are going to miss out. And if we look, like, you can say like, yeah, but the world altcoins running. Yeah, of course, there are exceptions. But the overall altcoin market on this Bitcoin pair, again, like, we're just going down with an occasional dead cat bounce, right? but we haven't seen a reversal yet. And we don't have to do what we so far did and just go up, make new highs, but somewhat of a higher high, right? That would at least show like, hey, there's something. And once that happens, I can sit there and be like, okay, you know what? We have a high high. It could be that the market tops out and that we don't make a new high here. And believe me, guys, that's not bearish. We don't need to, right? Because here, when the altcoins on their Bitcoin pair were that high, that's nice and all, but that's when BTC was sitting at 40K, right? So if we get there again while Bitcoin is sitting at 90 or 100K, yeah, then your altcoins are going to be fucking insane, right? So we can basically just go halfway there and have the same alt season when it's based on cash, right, on the dollar pair as last cycle. It doesn't take much, right? We don't get much, but it also doesn't take much, right? Because there is already a lot of liquidity in the market. There is already a lot of money, right? And that's also what kind of tells me like, hey, in alt, it's very simple because it's not a matter anymore of new money flowing in. That's the hardest thing, right? Getting money into crypto. But the money is already there. It's not a problem, right? It's now a matter of where is that money going? Yeah, that's kind of more easy, right? The money is already there. Like we see with the total crypto market, especially from November 2024, we had an inflow of money, which was crazy, right? It almost doubled. And still we are sitting very, very high, right? So therefore I would say like, look, we are sitting at these 2021 highs, right? Even if the market doesn't increase anymore, then still we don't need to. This chart looks really bullish to me actually. And this is I know what you might think to wrap it up like, yeah, but it's because of the Bitcoin ETF. Be a little careful with thinking that, I think, because the Bitcoin ETFs, see it right here, they currently, let me refresh that, they hold a total of 1.1 million Bitcoin, right? Out of a 21 million supply. So that's around 5%. Yeah, look, of course, it has some kind of an impact, but not enough to cancel a complete alt season or whatever. We're not talking about 50% of the supply, right? We're talking about 5%. It's a little overrated, maybe, about how much money is sitting in the ETFs, right? Same as people saying like, yeah, we're going to alt season because there are too many coins out there. Yeah, but of course, if you count the 30 million dead rugged Solana meme coins, then yes, but again, they dead and rugged. They're not. They cannot take liquidity, right? So it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I think patience is really key in this market, and although it's not that different from the last two cycles, the only thing that is different is the narrative, and that's also what Cohen said. Like the narrative is more like we want to see what the president is doing. Yeah, I remember also in 2021 and especially in 2017, there were things coming out, coins like, wow, the tech, man, this is so promising. And there was so much speculation on it. And now there's nothing left, right? It's more like when ETF, when Trump gonna, it's not about crypto anymore. And therefore, I do think that still an altcoin run or an alt season, however you want to call it, that's a domino effect. But we need that first push. And that first push is harder to make when people don't give a fuck about crypto anymore, but they're only cheering for Trump, right? That's not what we need. At a certain point, like how bigger can the mass adoption get? Like what's going to be the narrative for next cycle, right? At a certain point, they're like, that's not going to work. So we need that first push. And once that happens, it's very simple. You'll notice now as well, right? Altcoins are going down and everybody's bearish, right? It's that easy to become bearish. But the other way around is just as true. It's that easy to become bullish. Couple green candles, people are like, oh, nice. Oh, let me get that. Oh, more green candles. Let me get that. Up, 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 up. New retail from the outside looking, whoa, what's going on right there? In. Alt season, up. That's how it works, right? Very simple. So in my opinion, do we need a big narrative for an alt season or a big run? Not really. Do we need something to give that push? Yes. What that push is going to be? Could be anything. Could be anything. Maybe Ethereum comes out with some crazy news one day that I don't know, man. It could be anything. Crypto specific related, macro related, a certain coin. We'll see. So these are my general thoughts on the market. Now, if you feel like I'm bullish right now, I want to be in the market, I'm new, or I want to deploy more. What would you buy, FOMO? Look, for me, it's very simple. I just look at altcoins on the Bitcoin pair, right? And then I'll be like, what's a better buy? Well, let me check. Okay, cool. So altcoins on their Bitcoin pair are low. Got it. So when it's low, you buy. When it's high, you sell. So I'm not going to buy Bitcoin right now. It's better to buy altcoins right now, right? Then again, how are altcoins looking on their Ethereum pair? Hey, altcoins on the Ethereum pair are high. So maybe it's better to buy Ethereum. How's Ethereum looking on its Bitcoin pair? Low right now, right? Sitting really low. So what might be the best buy right now, which is also one of the safest? It might be in Ethereum, man. But hey, that's the way how I look at it. If you feel like boring, I want to be in other altcoins, that's also fine, right? Like, play a little on the defense, I would say. Don't go into too speculative stuff right now. I don't think it's the time yet, but it will be one day. So overall, my sentiment, yeah, I just do think that there are getting a lot of worries right now, and a lot of people kind of scared and capitulating, and it's all negative, and that overall has always been the best buying opportunity, right? If everything is bullish, yeah, then the price are high as well. Then there's no opportunity. So it's one or the other, right? So very simple. If it's low, buy. If it's high, sell. It's now low, so I buy. Simple. Yeah, I want to leave it there. 40 fucking minutes. God. Thanks for watching. Like the video. Let me know. Did you watch it completely or didn't you? Anyway, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts if you want to. And I'll be back